With one battle after another releasing last week, it feels like the fall-winter Oscar season has officially been kicked off. And while we're still in the very early stages of the season, I thought it'd be fun to throw out some predictions for who or which films will be nominated and maybe even win the big awards at the Oscars this year, at a point when most of these haven't even come out yet, so it's purely based on what people are saying and just general Oscar-y vibes. I feel like I've got a sense for this. I can relate to the Academy because I am also an old white man. And if you followed the channel for a while, you know I am a goated predictor at the box office, as long as we ignore 2016. So hey, let's give it a shot. Let's start off with costume design. This is a fun one since we have a bit more data for it because we can see costumes in promo images and trailers. I think Sinners is an obvious pick here. That's one of the few movies here I have seen already, and I think it's going to do very well nomination-wise. Maybe not so much win-wise, but we'll see. Frankenstein seems like another easy pick here. Guillermo del Toro fantasy movie. Wicked 2 also seems like an obvious one, as does Kiss of the Spider-Woman just based off that trailer. Though it does feel like the hype for that movie has totally died off. I remember people were talking about that being like a Best Picture contender at one point. Other than that, nothing really stands out here. Hamnet will probably have a big night, and that's period PC. Let's go with that. And as far as the winner, I'm gonna guess at this early stage, it'll be Sinners. Similarly, in makeup and hairstyling, I also think Frankenstein, Sinners, and Wicked will be there. I think they also love it when you make a famous actor look different, and so I think The Smashing Machine and Blue Moon could be big here. And for the winner, yeah, sure, Smashing Machine. They made Dwayne Johnson look pretty unrecognizable. I'm sure that'll get some points. Closing out these design-type categories with production design, I think the Frankenstein, Sinners, Wicked 2 trio is another easy lock here. Then I think we could see Nouvelle Vague get in there. Some film nerds at the Oscars might appreciate what Linklater's doing there. Then Hamnet, Kiss of the Spider-Woman, and Avatar 3 all seem like they could fit in. The fact that the other two Avatar movies were nominated, I'll throw in Avatar 3. Though I do feel like I'm going to regret snubbing Hamnet, but hey. Then let's go to editing. This might be the first one where you go, how can you predict this without having seen the films? But the thing is, you just gotta have a sense for a best editing nominee. Ford v Ferrari. Before you've even seen it, that's a best editing movie right there. Sound of Metal, Anora, Bohemian Rhapsody. These are movies where you can just feel it. So off the bat, I'm going to say Marty Supreme is giving me heavy best editing vibes. I'm also getting this vibe from The Smashing Machine. Maybe I'm just going full Safdie here, because not only are their movies very well edited, but also very notably edited in the past, if you get what I mean. Sinners, as established, I actually have seen. I think that could be big here. I'll also say House of Dynamite's going to be in here. A tense thriller, got to build up that tension with some editing. And lastly, I feel like Hamnet, Frankenstein, Bugonia, maybe even something like Blue Moon could take this, but I'm going to say one battle after another. It wasn't insanely on everyone's radar until it came out, but it's gotten such good reviews now, I think it's going to be a big player on the night. Between now and the Oscars, with all these others coming out, it might lose some of that momentum, but I don't know. It was a very impressively edited film. So here's my list, and if I had to take a shot at a winner, they usually give best editing to the movie with the most obvious editing, and that'll probably be House of Dynamite, so let's say that. Another one that seems sort of stupid to try to predict without seeing the films, best score, but hey, let's also go purely off of vibes here. Besides Sinners, which I know has a great score, and I think will be getting a nomination. Hamnet and Frankenstein seem like well-scored movies, as does Bugonia. Lanthimos' movies typically have good scores. And you know what? One battle after another with that piano score that was playing pretty much constantly, and then it had those big musical moments like when the daughter is walking to meet Sean Penn. Yeah, let's throw that in there. The winner will be Sinners though, I suspect. An interesting one is up next because it is a totally new category, casting. Which movies were best cast? Given we have no precedent to go off of, I'm not entirely sure where to start, but I'm gonna say Wicked 2 and Sinners have pretty all-star ensemble-y casts. One battle after another should be in there for sure. Maybe Frankenstein? And I don't know, maybe they're really impressed by the casting of George Clooney as Celebrity Man and Adam Sandler as his best friend. Let's throw Jay Kelly in there. And the winner, I'd say one battle after another. The thing that stands out most to me about that film is the acting and the great performances all around. I could also see this going to Sinners. I'll say one battle right now. When I predict this closer to the actual Oscars, maybe I'll change my mind. Now for some technical categories. Sound, just on a hunch, I'm going to say F1, Warfare, House of Dynamite, Wicked 2, and Sinners. Let's say House of Dynamite probably wins that. Feels like a best sound winner, tense thriller. Now here with cinematography, gets a bit more interesting. I think Sinners will be in there. That musical sequence will be shown when they're saying the nominees. I feel like Frankenstein could be big here. It's got that classic Guillermo del Toro cinematography. Bugonia, maybe? It looks quite impressive from the trailer. I'll throw Smashing Machine in there. That might seem like a weird one. It looks well shot from the trailer. Got some of those UFC scenes. You know, it could be could be something. And I guess F1 was pretty impressively shot considering what's being filmed. And F1 does seem like one of those technical darlings for the Oscars. I'm not super confident on this one, in case you couldn't tell, but we'll go with it. Hamnet doesn't look crazy to me, but I can see it sneaking in there. In terms of who wins, let's say Sinners. Again, on the strength mainly of that one scene. But in general, it's also a great looking movie. Next up, Best Visual Effects. This one's fun, because it's all the more blockbustery movies. I think this year's pretty easy. Avatar 3, obviously. I think How to Train Your Dragon and Tron Ares will be in there. And then I guess Superman? And then either Fantastic Four or Wicked 2. Probably Wicked 2. That's more of an awards movie. But yeah, Avatar 3 is gonna win. By the way, I'm gonna skip animated. I'm sorry, but besides Zootopia 2 and the K-pop Demon Hunters movie, I genuinely can't think of other animated movies that came out this year or will come out. I don't know, maybe Rihanna's Smurf movie could sweep the awards, but let's just say K-pop Demon Hunters is gonna win, and also that'll take Best Original Song. For the International Features category, this category especially could be one where just a movie comes out of nowhere, because I don't have as close of a knowledge of the more worldwide film scene as I do of the American and European ones, but at the moment, there do seem to be actually 5 pretty obvious picks. Sentimental Value and Secret Agent are the ones that are likely for other categories as well, non-international ones, so of course they'll be in the international one. It Was Just an Accident has a lot of storylines behind the making of it and the culture it's coming from, and it took home the Palme d'Or, so I'm sure that'll be here. No Other Choice is a Park Chan-wook film, and apparently really good, so that'll probably be here. And the voice of Hind Rajab got a 23-minute standing ovation, and is again very relevant and of the moment, though given Hollywood's somewhat divided opinion on Israel and Gaza, maybe it would be too controversial, but based on how powerful it was to those in attendance at that festival, and again, how relevant it is, I think it could be up there. And who will take it? Well, again, with these, it's always the movie that will be nominated in other categories as well, and I'd imagine that's Sentimental Value and The Secret Agent, and I think Sentimental Value will take it, which is the new Joachim Trier of The Worst Person in the World film, by the way. Now time for some screenplay awards. Since we get 2 categories here, this can be interesting. Firstly, original. Right off the bat, Is This Thing On? Scream's original screenplay nominee. Get that in there. Same for Jay Kelly, extremely best original screenplay nominee core. Sentimental Value also feels like an obvious one here. I feel like they might go with Sinners. Honestly, the screenplay to me is the weakest part of that film, but it seems like one they might. I'm tempted to put The Secret Agent here. To be honest, I don't know much about it, but it's got a lot of buzz and feels like it could be a bit of a sleeper pick for a lot of these categories this year. Marty Supreme also seems like a best original screenplay nom. So let's say Is This Thing On? Jay Kelly, Sentimental Value, Secret Agent, and I think they're going to give it to Sinners. I think Sinners is going to get a lot of nominations. Let's say Sinners, and let's say Sentimental Value probably takes it. Best Adapted Screenplay, I think One Battle After Another will be up there. Hamnet for sure. Bugonia is a remake of a foreign film, so that counts. Maybe something random that doesn't get a lot of other nominations could be in there, like Nuremberg. I think Frankenstein could make it. I'm trying generally to avoid this Variety article of predictions, so mine don't get influenced, but just looking at it here for a list of the possibilities. That Hugh Jackman musical movie that looks corny as hell, Song Blue, that's based off a book. Sure, throw that in there. There's always something that comes kind of out of left field for these categories. I think One Battle After Another will win here though. Time for the acting categories, the most fun for most people. Supporting actress, there are some obvious ones. Elle Fanning for Sentimental Value and Emily Blunt for Smashing Machine. Honestly, all the women in One Battle After Another could be here. Tiana Taylor, Regina Hall, Chase Infinity. The question does actually come up, is she even a supporting actress, or is she the main actress in that film? You could argue she's more of a main actor than DiCaprio even in that movie. So because of that, I'm going to remove her here and say both Regina Hall and Tiana Taylor get noms here. That might be a bit of recency bias. It does happen sometimes though, people can get nominated for the same film. And the last spot is tough. There's Emily Watson in Hamnet, Gwyneth Paltrow and Marty Supreme, Zoe Dutch in Nouvelle Vague, Dutch, Ariana Grande in Wicked 2. Again, taking a peek at this Variety article, apparently Kate Hudson in that Song Blue movie is a frontrunner, which to be fair, there is always some kind of inexplicable random pick in these categories where the film doesn't get nominated for anything else, like Naiad or Mudbound or Richard Jewell. Like those are not thought of as awards darlings of those years. I'm gonna throw Emily Watson from Hamnet out there. That seems like an actory movie, and I feel like the Wicked Awards hype is a little diminished when it's not the first time around. And who takes it? I'm gonna say Regina Hall. For supporting actor, I think a few locks are Stellan Skarsgård in Sentimental Value, Sean Penn in One Battle After Another, and Adam Sandler in Jay Kelly. Apparently, Paul Mescal counts as a supporting actor in Hamnet. Haven't seen it, but that's what I'm getting from this Variety thing, in which case he will definitely be here. And you know what? Might be a bit out there, but I'm gonna say Miles Caton from Sinners. I thought he was excellent, and it was a big breakout performance. Jacob Elordi as Frankenstein, Idris Elba in House of Dynamite, they could end up here as well, but this is my list. And I'm gonna say probably Stellan Skarsgård takes it, though Paul Mescal is likely the safer choice. Then we have Best Actress. I think Jessie Buckley, Hamnet, and Renata Reinsve are pretty strong picks here. I'm sorry about that pronunciation. I'm Danish, not Norwegian. Same with Emma Stone. She's pretty guaranteed. I would have said Julia Roberts, but After the Hunt is getting a sort of mixed reception, so I'm not so sure. I don't think Sydney Sweeney is going to be in this. I could see it happening because the Oscars want to boost their ratings, but I don't know. I think everyone's excited because, whoa, big star Sydney Sweeney is doing a serious awards movie. But just from the trailer, that movie looks generic as hell, and I think might be getting oversold. That being said, I would not be surprised if she ends up here. Rose Byrne in If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You has a lot of buzz around her. I'd throw her in here. I don't know if I stick with my Wicked not having as much steam take. I think Cynthia Erivo could be nominated. Yeah, let's say she is. This is my list. And as far as the winner, there isn't really a super obvious contender at this point. I'd maybe go Jessie Buckley for Hamnet. Again, just seems like a very performance-based movie. Emma Stone is probably doing a lot in Bugonia, and also they love giving her Oscars, but are they really going to give her another one for a weird Yorgos Lanthimos movie? I don't know, maybe. But I'll say Buckley for now. Best Actor will probably be a tightly contested category this year. I'm quite confident putting Dwayne Johnson in there. By the way, just saying, there is a non-zero chance that we get Dwayne Johnson and Sydney Sweeney both winning Oscars this year. That's just something to think about. I think George Clooney for Jay Kelly is going to be here. And the Oscars love Chalamet. Give me Chalamet for Marty Supreme. Now it gets tricky, because I could see Will Arnett for Is This Thing On? Oscar Isaac for Frankenstein. Jesse Plemons for Bugonia. Even Daniel Day-Lewis or Jeremy Allen White could sneak in. The main ones it comes down to, though, are DiCaprio, Ethan Hawke, and Wagner Moura. I think this is a good time to point out that Secret Agent is a film I know very little about and sort of snuck up on me, and there are guaranteed to be more that aren't even on my radar right now that by the time award season rolls around will be major players. I've just seen the title Train Dreams here a dozen times, don't know anything about it, haven't put it in any of my categories, so just keep that in mind. But anyway, from what I'm hearing, apparently Wagner Moura is unreal in The Secret Agent, so I'll throw him in here. And even though DiCaprio, while good, is not really the focus of One Battle After Another, really, he is an absolute pig for Oscar nominations. I don't know if that's a metaphor that makes sense. You get what I mean. He'll be there. And for the winner, again, Wagner Moura has some momentum apparently. I just don't know much about the movie, so I don't feel super confident picking it. Fuck it, let's throw up Dwayne Johnson wins an Oscar in 2026. Why not? That would low-key be very funny. But apparently he's very good in that film, and they appreciate actors doing transformative roles and taking on challenges and whatnot. It feels like the most noticeable performance of the year, I guess you could say. So sure, why not? Alright, now we're at the second biggest category, Best Director. I've got a list of 11 here that I gotta narrow down to 5. I think Joachim Trier for Sentimental Value feels the most like a lock, as does Chloe Zhao for Hamnet. I want to put in Coogler, but I feel like Sinners might get the Dune 2 treatment, where it gets nominations for all the other awards, but not Best Director. I also want to put Noah Baumbach in here, because he just seems like such a Best Director nominee, but is Jay Kelly maybe too low-key in a race with more prominent choices? But also it's about Hollywood and being a celebrity, and they love that over there. Maybe Park Chan-wook could slide in there for no other choice, but that seems more unlikely. He's never been nominated before. Honestly, I would have said Catherine Bigelow was a lock for House of Dynamite, but I haven't heard super positive things about that movie, so maybe not. There's also Paul Thomas Anderson to consider, and the Safdies. Jafar Panahi for It Was Just an Accident also has a lot of buzz, and like I mentioned before, is the one with the most real-life story to him in his film. But does he fit into the Academy's top 5? Alright, my predictions are Joachim Trier, Chloe Zhao, Paul Thomas Anderson, Jafar Panahi, and Benny Safdie. Sorry, Noah Baumbach and Guillermo del Toro. And finally, the big one, Best Picture. There's some pretty strong, basically guaranteed ones at the top, and then it becomes much trickier as we go down. But in terms of ones I imagine are guaranteed, I think we're going to see Sinners, Sentimental Value, Hamnet, and One Battle After Another in there. Like I said, I thought After the Hunt and House of Dynamite could have been in there, but after recent reviews, that seems less likely. Father, Mother, Sister, Brother, and It Was Just an Accident both took home major prizes at festivals, but are they the kind of thing the Academy nominates for Best Picture? I don't know. By the way, I've sort of locked Father, Mother, Sister, Brother out of all of this. Maybe Jim Jarmusch could also be in there for Best Director or Screenplay, I don't know. I just haven't really heard much about it since it won that award, but maybe. I think just based on the other picks I've made for other categories, Frankenstein, Smashing Machine, and Marty Supreme seem like logical slot fillers here. Safdie brothers might be competing for Best Picture, that's kind of crazy. And for the last 3 spots, I'd say it's between these. I don't know why I threw The Testament of Anne Lee in there, it's just one that I haven't mentioned so far, but it seems like it could be something. I feel like those bottom 5 might not make it for whatever reason. Whether they're too niche, or not the Academy's kind of thing, or the category's just too crowded. And again, Wicked 2, is it as hype as Wicked 1 for the awards? I don't know. Alright, whatever, let's just do it. I think Bugonia, Jay Kelly, and Avatar 3 or Secret Agent, I'm gonna say The Secret Agent. We had another successful, great Brazilian political movie last year, maybe it'll ride that momentum. Again, I don't know too much about it, I've just heard a lot of buzz. Let's say that. And my early prediction for a winner, and by the way, I will make a video like a week before the actual Oscars giving my updated predictions. I think it's going to be one of these first four, probably either Hamnet or One Battle After Another. Screw it. Let's say One Battle After Another. Yes, it's the one I've just seen and everyone's high on right now. This might not age well, but that's just how I'm feeling at the moment. It's PTA, who's never won Best Picture. Maybe now's his time. It's epic, and it's very of the current moment, and it's really good. So why not? So those are my very early predictions for what and who will be nominated and what and who will win at the Oscars in, I want to say March. What do you think of my picks? Will they age like milk or am I a genius? These are the only two options. What are your picks and what are you most excited to see of these films? Let me know all of your thoughts down below in the comments. While you're at it, be sure to like this video. Check out my podcast, The Poorly Planned Podcast. We talk about movies and TV shows. It's a bunch of fun. Check out my Instagram at BHL_Hudson, my Letterboxd at RealBHLHudson, and subscribe for more videos like the one you just watched. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.